All right, very excited to talk to our next guest. We're here at Heat Media Day, and a man who got a much-deserved contract in the offseason. He was one of the stories of the year last year for the Miami Heat, Leroy.
Best twin.
Caleb Martin, the best twin. How did that feel? How did that feel, Caleb? Caleb Martin joining us here on the show. Congratulations on your new deal, man. Much deserved. What a story it was for you last year, how you burst onto the scene. How did that feel this summer? That had to feel amazing.
Man, it felt amazing, man. I was just crazy. I was just talking to my brother. It's a weird feeling because it felt so good to be in a position like that, obviously, to gain some security based off, especially from the path it took me to get to this point. But then at the same time, I'm, talking to my brother, and I'm like, dang. I asked him, I'm like, man, you feel any different? Because you see all these guys get signed and, get what they want. You're like, dang, man, they probably feel like this, they probably feel like that. And I'm like, man, I do the same stuff every day. You know what I mean? I go, go get breakfast. I wake up, go to the gym. I do the same stuff, buy the same stuff, go same places. Like, I don't do nothing much different besides, I'm getting some things in order for my family and doing stuff like that. But other than that, I do the same stuff.
Was there any part of you this summer that was like, I have to do something extra like that because it feels like you got to live up to something, or do you feel like it's just more like it's just you kind of just stack on to what you were doing?
Man, somebody put it in a way for me is like sometimes you end up putting pressure on yourself because you're like, man, I got to live up to this, I got to do this. But somebody put in perspective for me where you're not necessarily looking at it like that. You look at it like, okay, I got paid off based off what I did, not based off what I need to be doing. It's based off you got paid for what you did. You know what I mean? Like the service that you brought already. So, you see a lot of guys, obviously they pay guys based off the potential to do something as well. But, a lot of guys get paid for what they've already done. You know what I mean? So now the next time I'm just going to continue to do what I'm doing, but times 10. And, I'm not even worried about the next contract at this point because I don't look that far ahead. But I'm just trying to, live in what I just want to get comfortable. That's all it was for me, just comfortability.
Does the security put you in a different mindset in that, what I've done has got me to this point. Now it's house money. I'm just going ball.
Exactly.
Right?
Like you said, yes, bro. Like that's what I'm saying. It's just like it's comfortability right now.
Yeah.
So, and not comfortable like contentment. It's comfortable like, man, just I can relax, I can breathe.
You're literally on a two-way.
Yeah.
Like they can send your ass to South Dakota whenever they want to.
That's what I'm saying. I felt like I was on life support. You know what I mean? And like coming from being waived, that's exactly what it felt like. I felt like I was on my last leg. So, my plan A to make it work, there was no plan B. Plan A, plan B was plan A. You know what I mean? So there was no backup plan. So I just wanted to make sure it worked and it didn't feel as forced as it needed to be just because, man, I really feel like I found the right spot and the right guys to be around to help me get to that point.
What role does that play? Because sometimes you can have good players that end up in bad situations to where they don't get an opportunity to do all the things that they could do, or somebody else is doing it. Mm-hmm. You found a landing spot where you've been able to do all the things you need to do to show what your abilities are on a basketball court, but it's with the Heat, and you know how they do things that is kind of hit or miss with how you play or what your role is going to be from week to week.
Yeah, I mean, they hold you to a certain type of standard, man. Like, they hold you to a certain type of standard, they're going to play the best who that's going, in their eyes, it's going to think, it's going to help them win on every given night. So, you know what I mean? Guys switch up lineups, including mine. My role changes all the time. And like you said, guys that are great players that could get the same, even bigger contracts than they've ever had before, but they're just not in the right situation.
Right.
And that happens all the time, every year. And I've seen and I'm cool with a lot of dudes who are in the same position that could be 15 plus 20-point scorers in the league, but is you got to be in the right situation. And like you said, it takes one team. They got to believe in you. They got to believe in you.
What was the I guess the time of last year? Like, when did you feel the most comfortable? Because you made such an impact defensively. Like, they're putting you on the best guys in the league and trusting you in those moments, but you're also throwing down the nastiest dunks that we see on the team too. Right. So like, what were the all right, I'm finally improving. Like, I belong here, and then I'm making a real impact for this team.
I think it was. Let me see. It probably was the Milwaukee game. I mean, it was an earlier game, but I wouldn't even say before then, like just when I was in training camp. When I got to training camp, I made sure before I got there I was in the best shape, made sure my shot was feeling good, and even at that point I was still my shot has grown so much since I've been in the gym working with these guys. But man, I think just going through training camp and seeing those guys, seeing Kyle, seeing Jimmy, and seeing Bam, see all these dudes, and I'm playing against them. I'm like, man, like these dudes are nice, but I'm like, man, I don't feel like I'm like far off.
You don't
know
belong,
what I mean?
right?
Like, I feel like I'm supposed to be here. You know what I mean? And before I got here, I always thought it was like, man, I'm gonna get around older guys, and I'm gonna feel like there's a difference. And to me, like, but and to me in my eyes, I don't. I'm not scared of nobody. I'm always want to play. I'm fighting with Jimmy all the time to guard the best player. Like, me and Jimmy get in arguments during the game all the time. Like coming out of timeout, just like I'm like begging him, like, hey, bro, let me get him. But you know how Jimmy is. He's always one of the best players as well too. But like I feed off that type of energy. So it's been a great situation for me.
What do you think of Jimmy's hair?
Man, I hit him up. Jimmy. Hey man, I hit him up first day when it came out. I had a lot of people hit me up and they was like, but what's going on with Jimmy? I'm like, dang, what happened to Jimmy? I'm like checking my phone. I think I just got done working out, so I go check my phone and I'm like, dang, what's going on? I see it and I'm like, man. I hit him up. I'm like, bro, what you doing? He's like, what you talking about? He's like, he said, He said, I'm assuming you talking about my hair. I was like, bro, what else would I be talking about right now, bro? Everybody talking about your hair, bro. But that's Jimmy, man. Like, that's just what made. He just does whatever, whenever. Like, he don't care. He just does his thing. So, he a character, man.
I'm curious. I've always been curious about this. You talk about, how much better your shot has gotten, and I believe that defense is something you just have or you don't, right? They could teach you the techniques of it, but at some point you got to compete against the guy across from you, and that's something you already have. But as far as your shot, and as far as, do they really do a lot to kind of foster that, to make you feel more comfortable with your shot? Because I know everybody says shoot it.
Yeah.
You always shoot it, but as far as working with you, as far as working on your technique, as far as, is this the best place as far as facilitating that and getting you better in those areas?
Yeah. I mean, my personal opinion, yeah. I mean, obviously I haven't been too many other places, but, I just know what's worked for me.
Right.
And, what they teach is, like you said, obviously, you get it. It's, they're preaching confidence, pushing confidence. If you get it, shoot it, you're open. But it's more technique. And it's just technique and repetition, man. And also for me, you get around guys who can really shoot it. Guys like Duncan, guys like Max, guys like Gabe, who got really good form and really shoot the same consistently for the most part. Like, there's not a lot that changes their mechanics.
Right.
And so when I'm seeing that every day, and I'm shooting with those guys in drills, and I'm watching them play, and I'm picking off that. You know what I mean? I'm picking off guys who can really shoot it, and I'm like, he does this, or he does that. Oh, this is lower. Like, I'll take little stuff like that, and I'll just put it in my pocket. So when I come in, I'm working with my shooting coach or my trainer or whatever it is. That's what I'm focusing on. So that's why I'm picturing my release and picturing my starting point or whatever. So I'm just continuing for things to start to click. So.
Do they put you in a position where when you leave here, you can go and work on those things and get better at the things you talked about?
Yeah.
And then when you come back, you've improved because you've had that base to be able to go and improve like your shot and stuff like that.
Exactly, man. And like, shooting's one of those things, it's like a lot of it's muscle memory. So, you probably see some guys who go out of situations that made them better shooters and they go somewhere else where it's not the same, it's not being taught the same or to, to the same emphasis. And it just, things start to go back to normal, things start to revert. Right. So it's important to stay consistent. And I just think that's one of the biggest things they do here is just stay on top of it. So.
Caleb, before we get you out of here, with PJ leaving, there's this hole in the starting lineup that's not quite figured out yet, and people have the experts, they have thought like maybe they put Caleb Martin at that 4 spot, big next to Bam. That's not traditional, but like you were saying, you take on all challenges. What would you think about a role like that if you were to be a side Bam, being in that position?
I mean, there was times where I was doing the same thing last year. To me, like I'm gonna be guarding 1 through 5, 1 through 4, anyways. You know what I mean? We switch all the time. Bam's a piece. He's very versatile. He can guard 1 through 5 pretty much. So regardless, I'm gonna end up on the 4, the 5, and the 1 at times anyway. So to me, none of that stuff bothers me. I don't think I have to come in at 280 and bulk up to to
eat extra this.
I mean, I definitely put on a couple of pounds, but like to me, an advantage for me also is just my quickness. So I I don't really worry about that stuff. None of that stuff bothers me. I don't get caught up in that. If they want me to play the 4, and I'm gonna go in there and play the 4, and I'll replicate PJ as much as I can with adding my own type of style. But I'm gonna still be me, and that's I think that's what got me to the contract this past summer was the fact that I am versatile. So whatever they need me to do, I'm gonna go plug in and fill in the role. So I haven't worried about that too much this summer.
Thanks so much for the time, and congratulations again on the deal.
Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for having me.